Hey, Shalom, Shalom. This is your brother Yashimai from the GMS Atlanta camp. Before I get into this message, I want to start off by giving all praises, all glory, and all honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakwakadash. And I want to send double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And a sincere Shalom to Yakim Yakwath, inclining ears to 100% truth. What I just played here is an interview. This is an interview showing the disconnect between so-called Mexicans in Mexico and what they think of Mexicans in America. And you heard the guy ask these are Mexicans in Mexico. And you heard him ask, say, what do you think about Mexicans in America that don't speak Spanish? And in summary, the response was, basically, we look down upon it. We don't consider them Mexican. We consider them American. They have a different way of life. So what do we see here? A living person is saying that another living person of the same blood type that is just across an imaginary boundary on a map is not Mexican because they don't speak the language, man. The purpose is to show you that even two people of the same bloodline alive, there's a disconnect because there's a different way that Mexicans in Mexico grow up when you compare to Mexicans in America. Now, I want to read this comment, and I'm sure there's many more comments, but this is a comment from somebody on YouTube. It says, I'm a first-generation American. I was born and raised in the States, but my whole family is from Mexico. All right, so this would be what you would consider a Chicano. I grew up speaking Spanish because I learned it at home, and even though I was raised in a very Hispanic household, some, not all, but some people from Mexico have belittled me for being from this side of the border. Mainly because I speak English more than Spanish, even though I speak both fluently. But it's not my fault. My family decided to up and move to live here permanently. And I'm sure I'm not the only Mexican American who has dealt with this. My advice is do not be ashamed of who you are and where you come from, whether it's from Mexico or America, and don't let anybody make you feel bad about it and vice versa. It's Romans 11, man. It says it. Let's get one more comment and then we're going to get some scripture, okay? It says, this guy says, it's honestly not that deep. Some Mexicans hate Chicanos and some Chicanos hate Mexicans. That happens with every culture. But as long as you show love and respect to each other, no matter where they are from, there shouldn't be a problem. My dad is Chicano, but he's worked with Mexicans his entire life, not only as a migrant worker in the fields when he was a kid, but also in the fields when he was a kid, but also in construction now. And if that has taught me anything, it's that as long as a mutual respect, everyone should get along. But whatever. The point here, though, is that I'm trying to show you here that the Gentiles in the New Testament, the Gentiles, specifically even more so Romans 11, were Israelites that had discontinued from their heritage, man. Jeremiah 17:4. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For you have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. You see, it was spoken through the prophet that we would discontinue from our heritage, that we would forget who we were. Now, I'm going to bring up scripture in Maccabees. First Maccabees, I think it's 4. When Judah, or is it Second Maccabees? Second Maccabees 4. And once Onias saying, but thereafter promising the king, and besides this he promised to assign Okay, when he sent unto the king, saw that it was impossible. About the time of Antiochus, forth a false rumor, but Jason slew his own citizens, coming for the temple. Okay. The king sent an old man. Okay, right here. This isn't the one that I was looking for, but there's a decree that goes forth that they should no longer call themselves Jews. They're right here. 2 Maccabees 6 and 8. Moreover, there went out a decree to the neighbor cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews, that they should observe the same fashion and be partakers of their sacrifices. And whoso would not conform themselves to the manners of the Gentiles should be put to death, that then might a man have seen the present misery. Matter of fact, then for the temple, how is the right here, verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient fast, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. So, in the year that this happened, there was a decree that went out. This was written around 130 BC, right? Before the coming of Hamashiach. So there was a decree that went out, all right, that Israel could not call themselves Israelites, that Israel could not practice their heritage, just like we read in Jeremiah 17 and 4, right? The decree went out that we had to discontinue who we were. Now, you fast forward from there to the book of Romans. You know, we just went into this in camp, but I just want to revisit it to really drive this point home, because we're going to put it into context here. Romans 11 is the hill that Christians will die on. No. This is us grafting in. This is no. All right, and it's a hill that they will die on. You know, that's a term where this is the stand. I'm going to die. I'm a ride or die. This is my stand. Boom. But it's okay, because, you know, if you're going to ride or die in it, you know, you're going to die in a false belief. Okay? Because the Gentiles spoken about in Romans 11 were Israelites that had discontinued their heritage. You see, let's get a couple scriptures here. It says, David said, let their table be made a snare, let their eyes be darkened, have they stumbled, that shall they fall. It says right here, for I speak to you, Salakia. I'm driving. Most of my videos are in transit, so the water for the patience. It says, boom. Okay, let's start at 15. For if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be? But life from the dead. For if the first fruit be holy, the lump is also holy. And if the root be holy, so are the branches. And if some of the branches be broken off, and thou being a wild olive tree were grafted in among them, and with them partakest of the root and fatness of the olive tree, boast not against the branches. But if thou boast, thou bearest not the root, but the root thee. So this is an image that Paul is speaking about. You know, he's telling the Israelites, hey, he's telling the Jews, okay? And when Paul talks about the Jews here, this is practicing Israelites who had not forsaken the ways of Israel. You see, when Paul is talking about Gentiles and heathens here, he's talking about Israelites that had taken after the customs of the foreigners, man. Just as we saw in that YouTube video that I showed you, even in, you know, Mexicans, even now, and this applies to Chinese, this applies to anybody. Any native person in their native country, when you ask them about their own kinsmen in America, they don't consider them part of their native country. Now, If we could all understand that, how much more so from 130 BC, 175 BC to about 30 or 40 AD. 200 years have passed. So now the same Israelites that it was illegal to call yourself an Israelite, that it was illegal to practice to observe the high holy days, the same Israelites who couldn't circumcise themselves anymore. Imagine what would happen after 200 years. If you just saw in that video that even while you're alive, they don't consider you part of their kinsmen, how much more so would they not consider themselves? How much more so would they not claim you if you've had 4 generations of forgetting your heritage? Because like now, you might have a son now, and you might show him. No. I'll give you a better example. The generations from 4 generations, the beliefs are different than the generations of today. Why? Because things have changed. So the purpose of this short message is to show you the changes, right? The losing of the heritage is what made an Israelite a Gentile, because we had forgotten who we were. We had taken after the customs of the heathen. And Romans 11 is talking about the practicing Israelites calling other bloodline Israelites Gentiles because they had taken after the ways of the Gentile. Let me see. Zechariah. Yeah, there you go. Jeremiah 11:15. Jeremiah 11:15. What has my beloved to do in mine house, seeing she has wrought lewdness with many, and the holy flesh is passed from thee? When thou doest evil, then thou rejoice. You see, how can you put off the holy flesh? What makes you holy? Well, holy just means separate. So how can you put off the holy flesh? By not being holy. Israel put off the holy flesh by going after the ways of the heathen. Right? Israel, the Gentiles here was Israel in the Gentile state of mind, man. So anyways, I hope this lesson has been edifying. I just wanted to show that even while someone's alive across an imaginary border put together by the self-proclaimed white man, even in the same lifetime, you are not claimed by your own people. How much more so after 200 years of losing your heritage and losing it and losing it and losing it? How much more so would you not be unclaimed, by your fellow Israelites? The Gentiles in Romans 11 is talking about the Israelite Gentiles that had taken after the customs of the heathen. I hope this lesson has been edifying. And with that, I say shalom. Put 2 and 2 together.